to start with big breaking inputs here. This is the first time on Indian television, we at NewsX, getting you the real story, the full story behind Pakistan's plot here, wherein which they decided to give the death sentence to Kulbhushan Jadhav.
Reliable sources at the highest levels have told NewsX that they are seriously investigating credible reports that indicate that the entire episode and the haste behind it was conducted at 3 levels.
Yes, one of the key precursors here to Pakistan's plot, which is likely to have been China looking to send an indirect message to India after the Dalai Lama episode of hosting him there for a religious tour, which India had clarified across Arunachal Pradesh. We're getting in further inputs here. We have with us our Foreign Affairs editor, Geeta Mohan, our assistant editor, Ashish Singh, with those details on the real reason why Pakistan suddenly acted on the Kulbhushan Jadhav case there. Ashish, please go ahead.
That's right, Sahar. From the credible sources in the National Security Advisor and the Prime Minister's office, we have learned that this morning the Prime Minister's office was informed from the various agencies, including the NSA's offices, that Pakistan has done it at the behest of China. We know that in last 4 to 5 years how Pakistan has started giving more importance, rather I would phrase it like that China has started having more control on Pakistan as compared to United States, and that's the reason what is the possibility that is currently being explored. And I'm told that this one possibility is something that the NSA and the Prime Minister's office has asked all the agencies and the concerned ministries to ascertain that if this is the exact reason why Pakistan has acted in a hasty manner in Kulbhushan Jadhav's case, then the reaction of Indian government should be different. What we have been given to understand is that China was extremely unhappy with the Dalai Lama episode. Right. For last almost 10 days, China has been maintaining that India will have repercussions if it continues to give a lot of platform to Dalai Lama. Right. And since China could not do anything in retaliation of that at the international forum, at least openly, right, that's what China has done it through Pakistan. So basically, China pressurized Pakistan to do this kind of
Ashish, all of this morning in our conversations we were discussing of the external forces that could be behind in this sudden order that's come in on Jadhav, and this is perhaps how we are breaking it down here on NewsX, where reliable sources are telling us today, this afternoon, that it is a 3-pronged attack on India. We're talking about the ISI, we're talking about Army Chief, as well as China that has interfered in these matters, because China, of course, got a very strong message from India on the visit of Dalai Lama. So that's how we're looking at it. Geeta, let me pull you in on this one. It's a 3-pronged attack on India, on India's diplomacy there with China on the Dalai Lama issue.
That's right. There are various aspects and factors that are now presenting themselves when it comes to this decision of the Pakistani army to not just try Kulbhushan Jadhav without informing the Indian High Commission, but also go ahead and pronounce his death award. Certainly goes to show the kind of haste in which the Pakistani establishment is working in. And there are reasons now, like Ashish was saying, to believe that there could be various other influences also in this hasty decision, in this decision by the Pakistani army. Now, we do also know that the Indian High Commission tried many a times to seek consular access, but sources are also telling us that in the seeking of the consular access over here, they were told that they should help in the investigations on what is it that Kulbhushan Jadhav was involved in, which means that India would have then admitted, forcefully would have been made to admit to a thing that Kulbhushan Jadhav didn't do, which is that he was a spy, to admit to that. And now we are also given to understand, and we are learning from sources that Ashish has been reporting, that there could be influence from the Chinese side. China, in an official mouthpiece there, had very clearly come out and said that there will be problems that India will face if they continue to, if India continues to allow Dalai Lama the space and freedom to travel to any part of India, especially to the disputed area of Arunachal Pradesh.
But Geeta, what does this revelation now mean? That India would need to deal with not just Pakistan on this case that we're looking at, but dealing with China at this as well. It essentially means dealing with 2 neighbors on this one given case now.
Hasn't that always been the case when it comes to Pakistan, or for that matter China? Every time India is trying to discuss or iron out issues with Pakistan. There's always the China factor that India has to keep into account and take into account, and vice versa. When India is discussing or trying to iron out things with China, there is a Pakistan factor that always plays along. This has been an issue, and this is the reality of India's foreign policy in the neighborhood, in the region, when it comes to dealing with either Pakistan or China. The all-weather friends get together and gang up against India. Not the first time that it would be happening, and certainly not absolutely shocking or unexpected to see support coming in from China, or Pakistan going ahead and supporting China, and China being irked by India.
That's right. Stay with us, please, Geeta. Ashish, coming back to you to break this down further for us, as we're establishing over here this growing deep friendship between Pakistan and China. Of course, they have all means of irking India, as we are being sandwiched literally between these two nations. But this particular case, it only goes to show that the army chief in Pakistan would have been very happy to also oblige China on this given part. The fact that Pakistan didn't do nothing for the last 1 year, and suddenly in the last 15 days, especially Dalai Lama's visit to Arunachal Pradesh, we're looking at such a strong finality to Jadhav's case, only goes to show, yes, there has been that external influence that you and I had been talking about all of this morning. Ashish.
Well, there are at least 2 to 3 possibilities that were being talked between the Prime Minister's office and the National Security Advisor's office, along with the concerned ministries and the agencies as well, including the armed forces. Out of these 2 to 3, this is one possibility that has been talked a lot in the meeting that took place to discuss Kulbhushan Jadhav. And this is one possibility that was discussed most in that particular meeting. Although the Indian government has not yet received confirmation from on-ground sources, from the various intelligence agencies, from the diplomatic channels and the political channels, that it's China which has done it. But this is exactly the reason why Prime Minister's office has asked all the Indian investigating agencies and the ministries to confirm and ascertain it as soon as possible. Because if this is the case, if this is the proven fact, then that is informed to Prime Minister and the NSS office. In that case, certainly India will have to come up with altogether different reaction. And that's the reason why I'm told the government has not been able to decide its course and intensity of reaction so far. This is the most talked about possibility that was discussed today morning, including the Prime Minister's office, but has not been certain whether what would be the reaction from the India side, and it's not, until it is not confirmed that till what extent China has gone ahead and arm-twisted Pakistan to act against India. By doing this, Pakistan will get double benefit. They will certainly irritate India. That's their kind of thematic issue that they've always done, and they'll also keep China happy. The kind of influence, economic and the political hold that China holds over Pakistan, it has increased in last 3 to 4 years multifold. And US as well is not in a very strong position to pressurize Pakistan and to stop Pakistan from doing anything that it did yesterday against India.
But Geeta, ascertaining the possibility here of what we're really playing out as the real reason why Pakistan decided to act in this way would only further confirm what our argument on this has been, that he was an ordinary citizen, an ordinary businessman, and not a spy at all to begin with.
Absolutely, he was not a spy. He was a man working in a project in Chabahar in Iran, had his own business, and was picked up from foreign territory, from foreign land. And for India to seek consular access and have preconditions laid by Pakistan clearly shows that Pakistan was trying to corner India. There was no way that India would have said or agreed to helping in investigations in against an innocent Indian national, because that would have clearly meant admission, Seher, and that was not something that India was going to do. Officially, unofficially, it was absolutely clear that there is going to be no way that India will accept to investigating against one's own man, India's own national, and proving him guilty in Pakistan, in the Pakistani court. Look what happened, despite the fact that India continues to say say that he's not a spy.
Right.
Pakistan went ahead and tried him, and he's been sent to the gallows. Goes to show that despite or in spite of what India would have done or said, they would have done this to Kulbhushan Jadhav irrespective. And hence,
Right.
India did the right thing by not falling for the preconditions that Pakistan was laying down.
Okay.
Now, in Pakistan again, trying to corner India and
Right.
trying to push India into a corner by this decision that has come out from Pakistan.
Okay,
military
request you
court.
to stay with us, please, Geeta, as well as Ashish. Let's bring in Lieutenant General Raj Qadian joining us on this broadcast. General Qadian, let me break this down for you. What we are tracking right now here on NewsX, where sources indicated that this is on behest of China. China being irked with Dalai Lama's visit to Arunachal Pradesh, also telling India there will be consequences on that visit. We're talking about the possibility over here that it is on the behest of China that Pakistan taking this decision to rile up India on the issue of Kulbhushan Jadhav. How are you reading these developments, Lieutenant General Raj Qadian?
Well, we have problems with China, border problem, but that's a dormant problem. There is nothing active in it. But yes, Dalai Lama's visit to Arunachal is an active subject. China had vehemently opposed it, which was not unexpected.
Right.
But these things do happen between countries, between neighbors. If our assumption that it is Pakistan is playing at the behest of China by giving this punishment to Kulbhushan, then it will be very unfortunate. I personally don't think Chinese will go down to that level. All the same, it's a kind of a testing time for Indian government. Kulbhushan's life is very, very precious. He is an Indian. He is a citizen of our country.
But
and
General
government
Qadian,
is
if
of
I
life.
may, why would you want to disassociate this possibility where, of course, China also told India there will be repercussions? And looking at the facts that in the last 1 year, there was really hardly any movement on Kulbhushan Jadhav's case. But in the last 10 days after the Dalai Lama's visit, we've seen this very sudden development from Pakistan where he's been awarded death penalty.
Why I feel it should not be? Because the issue is so different. It is a question of a human life. Why it has come at this time, that may be a coincidence. After all, the courts do take time. Although military courts don't. They are basically captive courts. But I don't think any country will go down to that level
Okay,
to put a
I'm
human
going to
life
bring
at
in
stake.
Lieutenant General. Please stay on with us because you feel that this could not perhaps be a possibility. I'm going to bring in our colleague Ashish Singh, who's in fact confirming this source-based information. Yeah, Ashish, go ahead with the details that you have on this.
Well, Seher, it's important to read the last line of the first paragraph of the ISPR press release before I put the entire story in perspective. Today, Chief of Army Staff General Qamar Javed Bajwa has confirmed his death sentence awarded by the Field General Court Martial. Now, this is the kind of history manner that the Pakistan Army Chief has gone ahead. It's not only the judicial process within a year or within a year's time, but also Pakistani Army Chief quickly acting on it. Now, as far as taking cue from what General Qadian mentioned, this is just escalating the pressure. Kulbhushan Jadhav has not been hanged as yet. This is important. What Pakistan and China are doing, they are trying to escalate the tension between India and Pakistan so that India can be taught a lesson. This is something what China has made it officially in various Chinese official government media outlets. It was mentioned that India will have to pay some kind of price if they allow the Dalai Lama's visit in the northeast states of India. Quickly after that, a lot of movement was seen between China and Pakistan, and all these details that have been passed on from various agencies to NSA's office and from NSA's to the Prime Minister's office. So based on what discussions that have taken place among the PMO, NSA and the various agencies, the Indian government is exploring that what is the possibility that India can react in a manner that can actually keep both the Pakistan and China in mind. Now, as far as China's involvement in the entire issue is concerned, as I mentioned, Kulbhushan Jadhav has not been hanged yet.
Right.
All that is Pakistan and China are doing, just escalating the matter. Remember,
And
Kulbhushan still has got a lot of options in front of him.
And further needling India with this particular decision that the military court in Pakistan has taken. And let me put that back to General Qadian on how Ashish has put it into perspective. The possibility, General Qadian, of needling India further, because of course India has also been exercising its diplomatic might in Asia, as we have seen, of the kind of discussions we've been having, and this particular government has been speaking of India's might as well, and decisions that we have taken across the border in Pakistan very recently last year too. The possibility here of what we are tracking right now, General Qadian.
Yes, of course, possibility is there of everything, but I'm counting out the probability. I'm also convinced, I said that yesterday also, that they don't intend to hang Kulbhushan. That is only a pressure tactics, but that's between India and Pakistan. There is another angle of Habib having been caught in, missing in Nepal. And Pakistan, or somebody blaming that India has done it. Why I'm saying nothing can be ruled out as far as Pakistan is concerned. They can go down to any level. But I don't expect a responsible country like China to put pressure and put a human life at stake. Look at the trauma his family must be suffering, whether they hang him or not, but they must be already half dead.
Okay.
The question, Pakistan can go down to any level.
Okay.
Pakistan is a general court-martial. They have held what they call
all right. It's interesting that we would be willing to give that benefit of doubt to China, but knowing clearly how they've acted out in supporting Pakistan, also at the international level, at UN there as well, in having Hafiz Saeed listed on the international terrorist list in all these years, in as far as preventing India from taking that decision there as well. Geeta, as far as China's possibility on it being involved in this, as Ashish was pointing out, we've gotten reactions from Pakistan there as well. The date of the hanging has not been ascertained, not sure when exactly that would be taking place. But right now we're looking at time is of the essence, and it is this time that perhaps both Pakistan and China are using to push India in a corner.
Right, India and China and Pakistan have always ensured that when one is troubled by Pakistan, that one uses the other card to ensure that India is cornered. We have seen that in the past and would not come as a surprise even now, although the charges against this one man is serious. What Pakistan has indulged in is very, very serious. Pakistan has, in a sort of a way of trying to show evidence, made a dossier which Sartaj Aziz went around with in the United Nations and shared it with the United States. But nothing has been shared with India. On the contrary, Pakistan laid preconditions on the Indian mission and on Indian government to accept and to indulge and involve itself in investigations against an innocent Indian national to ensure consular access. And all this happening in a span of time, and the trial also without informing the Indian mission in a span of time, almost consonant and clearly at around the same time that China was troubled and riled by India. So there is a lot in the past that we have seen where both the countries use each other against India, and will not come as a surprise even now. These are sources, top sources from the NSA's office and the Prime Minister's office that are saying that they are looking into and investigating whether if China pressurized Pakistan into doing that. But there is also a larger plot, Akshay, that could be in play where Pakistan is trying to corner India to come back to the talking table, given that Nawaz Sharif keeps emphasizing on engaging with Pakistan.
Okay, Geeta, request you to stay with us. Commodore G.J. Singh also joining us over the phone line, defense expert. Commodore G.J. Singh, the possibilities as we are discussing over here of it is on China's behest that Pakistan has gone ahead and taken this decision to award death penalty to Jadhav to rile up India further. A lot of issues at hand that even China was disturbed on. For example, the Dalai Lama visit, where China continued to maintain that there will be repercussions, there will be consequences, and this could be the fallout of it, where China trying to influence Pakistan on irking and riling up India. Your thoughts on what we are breaking down here on NewsX, Commodore G.J. Singh?
You see, I have no doubt what your channel is breaking out is absolutely true. It's 100%, because you see, when two neighbors are in conflict, for example, what I want to bring out here is that China and Tibet had a problem way back in 58, 59. And India interfered. It welcomed the Dalai Lama, and it helped them to form a government here, or gave them, refuge.
Yes.
Now, when a person, when a country it interferes into the internal matter of the dispute which is not its own. It is like grabbing hold of a dog. A dog will give you a bite, and that is what we got in 62. And China is irritated all along these 70 years. In fact, I remember a couple of years back, China asked the Indian government a very relevant question that please explain to us whether the Dalai Lama is a religious leader or a political leader.
Right.
And at the time, it was Manmohan Singh's government, and the Dalai Lama was coming to India, and then he had plans to visit, Taiwan. Now, China is very much disturbed, irritated with India, and I have no doubt that they are playing this game of wits. So diplomacy is nothing but a game of wits. It's like moving, your moves on a chess. India has given a rebut to China, and China is giving the same thing to us now in a concealed manner.
Okay.
And I have no doubt in my mind that...
But we at NewsX have cracked it with source-based information here. Please stay on with us. General Shankar Rai Chaudhary with us on the phone line as well. Appreciate you being with us. As far as the possibilities here go, to what extent would you be convinced that it is at the behest of China and Pakistan coming together to further needle India in deciding for awarding that death sentence to Kulbhushan Jadhav?
General Shankar Chaudhary, that was for you, your response, sir.
Sir, is our voice going through, please?
A little far-fetched, frankly.
General Shankar Chaudhary, that is for you, your response, sir.
Yeah, I say it's a little far-fetched.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned.
General Chaudhary, we'll request you to tone down the volume of your television screen as you're watching the broadcast. Once you turn off the volume, sir, we'll be able to hear you. There's a lot of echo coming in. Meantime, you do that, sir. Well, let's get a quick response from our colleagues as well who've been waiting right now. Ashish, coming back to you. Now, of course, we're looking at the possibilities, the NSA getting involved, the PMO getting involved and investigating this further. But the question here being that even though if this is, as sources are telling us, is established, what are the options that lie ahead? Because we're talking about a life at stake over here. So while, of course, they have pronounced him guilty and awarded him death penalty, do we see this going down the way Sarojit Singh did? Is this going to be converted into a lifer? Because India will also exert whatever pressure that we can to try and save Jadhav right now, as we are doing.
Well, actually, frankly telling you, we have not learned from our sources that what going to be the India's reaction. All we have just learned is that NSA's office and the Prime Minister's office have been apprised about the China's involvement in the entire Kulbhushan Jadhav episode. I don't think if the Indian government has even decided as yet as far as the reaction is concerned, because the dealing with China and Pakistan both. If Pakistan is doing it at the behest of China, then certainly we'll have to form a much better and more complex reaction instead of dealing simply and directly with Pakistan. It's an easier option, but when it comes to China, it certainly is a complex issue. What the General Qadian was mentioning, that China will not go till that extent of jeopardizing a human life. Don't forget, it's China which has been creating the biggest trouble for India as far as extending technical hold on banning Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar. This is one issue that has created a lot of tension between India and among India, China and Pakistan. China has fully backed Pakistan. China being aware that Jaish-e-Mohammed has caused a lot of life and can continue to spread terror. Despite these activities, China has gone ahead and always openly supported Pakistan at the United Nations level. So it won't be difficult to understand and accept for the Indian government that to what
not
extent
exactly
China
off
can
the
go.
mark here to believe that China was behind this. Stay on with us. We seem to have fixed the audio there on General Shankar Rai Chaudhary. Sir, you were saying the possibility that we're looking at in source-based information that Pakistan deciding on this case at the behest of China. Okay, we seem to have lost that line. We will reconnect and get you several more reactions here. But Geeta, as far as what we're seeing in defense analysts there who've spoken out and really not seeing this as off the mark to have China behind this, and what Ashish was saying, that the response from India would need to be now perhaps far more measured or far more thought out.
Geeta, sorry for interrupting before you answer that, but we have General Shankar Rai Chaudhary back with us on the phone line. We'll take a quick input from him. We'll come back to you, Geeta. General Chaudhary, please go ahead with your assessment of the situation.
I am frankly a little skeptical about the China angle.
Why, sir?
I think we need to think. It is, as always, it is Pakistan trying to ensure that there are no Indians, repeat Indians, near Chabahar. India is attempting to reconstruct Chabahar in a big way.
Right.
It is also close to the road with Afghanistan, the connecting road. And India does not want any Indian, Pakistan does not want the presence of any Indians in that area.
Right.
They have taken the background of his ex-naval background.
Yes.
To label him as a saboteur and a spy.
Yes.
And they're taking this action to avoid any Indians coming into that area because the Chabahar, Afghanistan route, they want to sanitize against all Indian presence.
But General Chaudhary, if I may ask, sorry for interrupting you there, but looking at the timing of this all, the fact that we had the Dalai Lama's visit that has irked China so much, China coming out very vehemently and saying that there will be consequences. Within a week of Dalai Lama going there, we're looking at this a death penalty being awarded to Jadhav in Pakistan. For the past 1 year, we were seeing the case being dragged over there. Sartaj Aziz himself saying there is not enough evidence against the man, and suddenly we see the military court saying that he needs to be now hanged to death. Doesn't this add up in a way on how China and Pakistan together are wanting to rile up India?
Well, I would still feel it is primarily Pakistan which wants to keep India out of any presence on the Chabahar area, the Chabahar route, because they do not want Indian presence near Baluchistan. They do not want any presence of India near Iran. So the China angle may well be there, may well be there. I would not have thought of it.
All right, General Shankar Rai Chaudhary, appreciate you sharing that view, but please stay on with us because we continue to get in further inputs from our team of experts here. Our Foreign Affairs Editor Geeta Mohan, who's been with us ever since this report broke out here as well. As far as India's response here goes, Geeta, we've already had the MEA yesterday and that démarche and today as well in both houses of Parliament. Our Minister Sushma Swaraj calling this, defining this as premeditated murder if Pakistan goes ahead. Would this alter India's stand, looking at China stepping in, looking at China perhaps being behind that entire plot?
It would not alter Seher India's stand because the External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj not only, and this was a meeting that happened in the morning where they're investigating China's hand or whether if China could be involved in this entire decision by Pakistan, but External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj on the floor of the House not only called this that it would amount to premeditated murder, Seher, but also went ahead and said that this, if they go ahead with the decision by the Pakistani military court, it would impact bilateral ties between India and Pakistan. And that is very significant given that India has made it very clear and the message has been sent across to Pakistan that if they go ahead with such a decision, which is absolutely ultra virus to any international norms and rules and regulations, if they go ahead doing that, it would impact bilateral ties. India-China relations also at this point in time are at their lowest.
Yes.
So we do not really know how they're going to manage both these countries at this point in time.
Yes.
But the government and the establishment in a huddle also looking into whether if China could have influenced Pakistan's decision.
We'll have to leave it at that for a moment. Geeta Mohan, Ashish Singh, as well as Lieutenant General Raj Katyan, Commodore G.J. Singh and General Rai Chaudhary, sir, thank you very much for joining us at this given point of time.